Your hair's great. And we're live. Hey, buddy. Hey, everybody. We are live for sure. Todd, Schroth here, Agents Who Win, partner Daniel Betancourt, coach Daniel Betancourt. Wanted to just kind of talk to you today. Hold on. We lost access. Click to reconnect your destination. Technical error. 1 second. Continue. I don't want any suspicious activity on my account. What happened? If you want to, oh crap. Hey, Danny, go ahead and kick in for a minute. I got to fix something here.
Hey, yeah, so we are, my computer says live, so we might be having some technical difficulties right now, but Todd's working on those. So hopefully everyone had an awesome weekend. We had some agreeable weather this weekend and a heat wave here in Central Florida. I know a lot of people who watch this live are from all over the country. But here in Florida, we're having amazing weather. We're also very happy because our Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. So our Tom Brady, our beloved Tom Brady, Tampa's finest Tom Brady came through in the Super Bowl. So that was amazing to watch. I was a little bit disappointed by the commercials. I didn't really see any super off commercials, I guess. I don't know. What was the most memorable commercial that happened? The Paramount commercials were
the halftime show was unforgettable, unfortunately.
Which one?
The halftime show.
Oh, yeah, the halftime show. I'm not into, like, the time, so I had no idea who Weeknd was. So I guess I'm kind of out of it. But my 10-year-old son knew who he was and knew most of his songs, but my wife and I were saying, seems like Super Bowl's always had bigger headliners, but what do I know? He's probably the biggest thing there is right now. I have no idea. In between listening to podcasts and everything else we do, no time to tune into FM radio.
I think we're live. This has got a problem on Facebook. Sorry, we're live on YouTube, but not on Facebook. If you want Facebook, sorry.
Hey, so we're working on getting live everywhere. Facebook, YouTube. We want the many millions of people to be able to see this.
Yeah, it's like
not just the few million that have access to YouTube, but all of the others that have access to Facebook. We don't leave anyone out. Got some good stuff today.
Go to newsfeed. All done. All right,
here's great.
All right, I think we're live. It's still showing me error. Let me just.
Yeah, we can go live just on the YouTube if we have some technical issues. But today, Todd and I were going to recap a little bit from an awesome event that we both attended last week, and I was blown away by all the content. Todd may have been to something like that before, but I hadn't. It was pretty cool.
Hold on. Sorry, we are running into some technical issues. PW.
There is a wrench in the gears.
There is. It happens. We'll get through it. Perfect. All right, so we're live on YouTube, not on Facebook, but we're going to drop the link to Facebook so we can get on with our show and keep this going, and we'll get this technical issue fixed. Sorry, guys, for the problems there. But so we were at recently a Brent Gove event. Brent Gove is a rock star team leader out of Sacramento, now living in Puerto Rico, enjoying life, semi-retired down there, hanging off the palm trees. But runs a large team there and also has been with EXP for about 4 years, built a nice, massive organization. Mm-hmm. And I get to go live on Facebook. But it was great to have him come back and kind of talk about some strategy that he and his team are using to win buyer offers. And it was good to kind of hear like what's happening in the the West Coast to bring it to the East Coast business. Every strategy we talk about or that he talked about is going to be very depending on the price range that you're in and your market. So some of the stuff we say may not work where you're at, etc. So let's go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, so Brent Gove, he had a multi-part presentation for us last week that we visited this nice place in downtown Orlando, really nice venue. And, he spoke his first half of the presentation was about kind of some coaching tips like we do here, how to win offers, how to win listings. And he talked about some strategies from his perspective and things that work for him. And he says he's never lost a multiple offer situation using the strategies that he was presenting to us on stage on this day. And one of the I guess you could say one of the biggest takeaways from the whole thing was, if you want your buyer to be most attractive to the sellers, you need to find partners in the business that can help your buyer be set up for that. So in other words, you might have a lender out there that you know and love and has always done a great job, but if that lender's taking too long to close your deals and your buyer's not going to be competitive, at the end of the day, your responsibility is to your buyer customer and helping them find and secure that home that they love, and a little bit less to that lender. If the lender is a great lender, but they can't close quickly, you might have to shop around for a lender that's just as reliable, but able to close quickly.
There was funny because there was one of the things that he talked about was closing in 14 days. And I saw a Facebook post during the thing about it. People, I need a new lender that can close in 14 days. And the people I saw commenting on their feeds, I know are lenders that cannot close in 14 days because we've had a lot of delays from those guys, why they're not on our preferred list. So if a lender says they can close in 14 days, be sure to call some referral partners they have to make sure that they are true and correct. And, I did question some of the stuff that was said in regards to that, but you've got to have a buyer who's like W-2 employee, good product, a borrower that's not like us self-employed. If you're like us self-employed, you need to make sure you have all your ducks in a row ahead of time. You've gotten the P&Ls, you've gotten all the W-9s and all that stuff to them, or the 1099s to them ahead of time, gotten yourself all the way to desktop underwriting, where all I have to do is update a document the day I go to contract and have that document available.
Right. So one of the strategies that he was saying is, when you have a finance buyer, you want to make an offer that you're, like what Todd was saying, you're able to close in 14 days, and you want a 14 or 15-day home inspection period, just in case you run into some problems during that period. But in our experience, in order to close a finance deal that quickly, your buyer has to be pretty much approved through the underwriting process. And now all you've got to do is find the home to plug in an address, get an appraisal that, within those 14 days and be able to close. So a lot of times we've had situations where a buyer gets approved. We go under contract with a house, the buyer gets approved. For some reason, that transaction doesn't close. Maybe it appraised much lower, but all of the buyer's finances have been approved through underwriting. That kind of a buyer can close very quickly. But if you think you're going to get an offer accepted or a pitch that you can close in 14 days and then have your buyer apply for a loan on day one, that's you're setting yourself up for failure in that situation. So if you can find a lender, and I've heard lenders in the past pitch that in their process they fully approve the buyer, and you basically have a full approval. You just need an appraisal and an address to close. If you can find a lender that does that and offers that option, then that's awesome. So Todd and I were both during this presentation taking pictures of slides and sending them to the lenders that we work with to make sure we're all on the same page. That's one thing we're discussing at the team meeting tomorrow, about how to close in 14 days and what lender can and what's needed for that to happen. Right. I had a listing this weekend. The lower price range for our market averages around $350. This is a $215,000 listing. And I had 28 offers come in between Saturday and Sunday. And thank God my seller was out of town. The house could be a free-for-all. 20 people at the open house on Sunday. We had to stop people at 4 o'clock because, hey, we want to get home to our family. And it was just like, it was a shit show. But at the same time, it was a good one because we did, get offers from $215,000 with closing cost assistance, to $240,000 FHA, no assistance. And, it's not always the highest price that's going to work, because I like that one. I called the agent. I said, do you have comps to support your offer? And she goes, oh yeah, it'll appraise. I'm like, well, we're not just, it will appraise, because we've had 4 bad appraisals last week. We don't need this to happen on this one. And we're not going to try to negotiate down after you said you're going to pay that money there.
But I tell you what stood out. I'm going to read a couple things off, and I want to talk about this situation this weekend. You know, one of the things he said, how to win an offer in a competitive market. 1, calling the listing agent. 2, what is the seller looking for? 3, is there a deadline on the offers? And if there's a deadline on the offers, get the offer submitted before the deadline, because if the seller was home and wanted to say, hey, I'm done, I don't want to wait till Monday, you just lost out waiting through Sunday or Monday to get me that offer because we've signed something earlier. Even though that's what's in the MLS, it's always still what the seller decides to do. You know, is the closing time that the seller needs, where is she going, what are they doing, where are they headed, the pre-approval, you know, having the lender call in and give some information about the buyer, higher escrows, and then the lender calling the sellers, you know, calling ourselves, which I already talked about, sorry. And some of the lenders will reveal information about the buyer, about the strength there. But I had, out of 28 offers, probably 8 of them filled out correctly. I had, and with all disclosures, everything in there. FHA offer should show balance to close, you know, whatever the escrow is minus that with the 3.5% that's due for down payment. I had people writing FHA offers as VA offers, not sending approval letters, putting all kinds of stuff into the contracts. And, you know, we can narrow down quickly which ones we're looking at. I had lenders calling, asking for, you know, giving us information about the buyers, which is great. Not just getting an email from the listing or from the buyer's agent. Here's my contract. Buyer's agents calling and texting for information, you know, with kind of what I had talked about. So we put more attention to those. So I put little asterisks as I'm doing my yellow pad, you know, with the offer details. I put a star next to them that I talked to them and that they, you know, the lender called and little things. So I knew out of the 28, you know, what the top 3 or 4 were to kind of pay attention to. It came down to a conventional contract, you know, 5% down, 10,000 over asking, but we know we've got the, you know, the flexibility there. It didn't come down to the one that was, you know, 25,000 over asking with no availability of cash there.
Right. Communication is key. I mean, that's one of the, you know, the main takeaways also. I've had situations where I get 15 offers on a listing of mine, and I've spoken with, you know, maybe 5 of the agents. So if those other 10 agents want a shot, they should try to have some communication and not just shoot over an email and cross their fingers. Removing the appraisal contingency. But back to that last point, we feel a lot more confident with an agent that we've spoken with than a mysterious agent that we received an email, never heard anything from, but received an email offer. And credit to a lot of agents. A lot of agents do a good job of contacting the listing agent. And I think something that we hear a lot from buyer's agents complaining that the listing agent is hard to get a hold of. At a lot of these presentations, and we do these talks about making winning offers, that's a complaint that a lot of buyer's agents have. So what about that? What would you say to an agent that says, I try all the time to reach a listing agent, but none of them want to talk, or they don't answer their phone, or they're impossible to get a hold of?
You know, it's one, I mean, you're not going to call an office because not a lot of people are in the office anymore and talking to the secretary. I'm going to talk to the broker. You know, that's not going to happen anymore because a lot of us are virtual. But it's a matter of getting into all points of communication to them. And it is sending a text, it is sending a phone call, and not to harass, but, you know, if I don't hear from them in the morning, let me check back in the afternoon because I want to make sure my offer's been received. You know, and then, you know, shoot an email as well. If they have multiple email addresses, some do, where they're all like, we have, I think, 3 email addresses that forward into one for myself. Some don't have it all set up correctly. You can find somebody's email through Google by putting in their name or their email address. It'll pop up all the other contact information. So going above and beyond, trying to step out there.
What if you send a short video, like a 15-second video, and says, hey, Todd, this is Daniel Betancourt with eXp Realty. I tried calling you a little bit ago to talk to you a little bit about my buyer, but I just want to let you know my buyer's super excited. I just sent an offer to you 5 minutes ago. Would you please, whether you know, if you got it, please confirm. If you didn't get it, just please reply to this just to give me some peace of mind. I know you're busy, and hopefully we look forward to doing business together.
Depending on the amount of offers you have on the table, one way to one-up that, Danny, is to put a video with the clients. You know, you're at the house, you're on, you know, whatever, reverse screen, and you're saying, hey, it's Todd and Daniel, my buyer over here. We would love to just so that you know who we are when you present the offers, talk about the family. Keep the videos short, and that way they're not 6 minute. I've seen some 6-minute videos come through. It's way too much information. We're not going to read it. But I think if you bring the family into it as well, I mean, that's way to one up what you're doing there.
Hard text message or 6 video sometimes if you're not both on the same platform. Like you record this awesome video with customers, and then you keep getting messages. The file's too large to send. So, but yeah, I mean, you've got to go the extra mile in these competitive scenarios. And something else goes a lot about was removing the appraisal contingency. So this is a discussion, like you said, you have to have with your buyer in advance. We're in a super competitive market. You're buying in a super competitive price point. If you're going to offer $10,000 over the list price, this seller's going to get multiple offers over list price. If you want yours to stand out, you might want to consider removing the appraisal contingency. You have to leave it up to the buyer. Brent Gove's language way of presenting that to his clients was a little less friendly than mine. Like, this is what it takes. Mine, I want their approval and want them to be fully on board and comfortable with it. But some people have a more direct approach that's saying, this is what it takes, and if you want to be competitive, this is what you have to do. Let's do it. So those are some strategies there.
And it comes down to how bad do they want it, and do we feel the value is there? And if the value is there, cool, I can waive it. If we feel we're already stretched out, I mean, I'm talking to one of my agents today we just lost a deal because the appraisal was 30 grand less, and now they're on a house that's a little bit cheaper to another contract, but it's like the value's in the 430s, but we're going to offer 445 and ask for 10 grand back. Well, if we don't get that, does this buyer have the capacity to pay his own closing costs or something? So you got to know where the numbers are in the community. And I know some people are elevating their value so high that it's not going to appraise. Just know that and you can use that as a financing contingency as well.
Right. So, if the appraisal so to Brent Gove's point, if you have a 15-day inspection period and you're able to get the appraisal back within 7 or 8 days, even if you don't have an appraisal contingency in your contract, if it appraises for 10, 20, 30, 40 grand below what you've offered, you can still cancel the contract during your inspection period.
And the way you get that done is order the appraisal the first, the minute you guys go to contract, order inspections and appraisal, everything right away, and you can get ahead of the game.
Right.
To wrap up, one of the things we wanted to talk about, he mentioned, was coaching and get coach specific. And I wanted to kind of talk to you about that for a second, Daniel. I've been through coaching for the last 10 or 12 years and had one coach who was just strictly business, kind of all around for about the last 8. And then the last 2 to 3 years, we've been getting very coach specific. And whether it's business building or buyer business or seller business or team building, you've got to just decide what kind of coaching you need. And I'm looking at a lot of the new agent Facebook groups, and they're asking, hey, I want to get into coaching. What's the best route? They're asking what's the best company, but it should be the best route. Right. You want to get into cold calling? Cool. We got Mike Ferry. You want to get into this social media coaching, or what it is? What is talk about Club Wealth for a second? What does the coaching look like for you guys with what you do? Do they hone you in on a certain product, or is it just a volume count?
The Club Wealth niche, in my opinion, is team growth, team building, team creation. Okay. So it's teams, essentially. So it's taking a solo agent from being his own agent, assistant, listing agent, buyer's agent, transaction coordinator.
How many fingers in the one hand we can create? We got our team here.
Exactly right. So going from that solo agent where you're doing everything and pulling your hair out, how to maximize that person's capacity as a solo, but then realize when they need to leverage the assistance of an assistant first, and then start adding agents to the team. So that's the Club Wealth niche. But Club Wealth has 80 coaches, and all of them are doing different things, on a high level. So for anyone interested in that, Club Wealth allows you to interview different agents to see what their strengths are. But to your point, Todd, also, like, if someone said, who's the best coach in sports? Well, you've got boxing coaches, you've got football coaches, defensive coaches, offensive coaches, and NBA shooting coaches, and all that stuff. So it really depends on which direction does the agent want to go, and where do they feel like they need coaching? If it's social media, that's going to be a different kind of a coach than, let's say a listing agent coach that's showing you exactly how to seal the deal when you're in a listing appointment.
My 13-year-old plays travel baseball, and my 11-year-old does travel volleyball, and she's just getting involved in volleyball, so we're just starting to learn more on details in that sport. But my 13-year-old's been playing for about 7 years now, and when I told him I have a coach, for business, he kind of looked at me like funny. I'm like, this is, I'm in my 40s on getting coaching for my business for specific things, and I'm trying to explain to him what baseball coaching does when we get into pitch coaching or hitting coach or a fielding coach, and he's understanding why it's needed as he's leveling up with the different games and getting more competitive teams. So it's funny, when you're showing your kids why I have a coach as a business owner, or why they need one for specific things of how to excel in the sport that they're in.
And some people have multiple coaches. Some people have a life coach.
Yeah.
So you can have a business coach, a life coach, a real estate coach. You can, your life is made up of different facets, a health coach, a fitness coach. So you decide what's best for yourself, because it's easy to, not easy, but you can be coached to excel in one area, but your life is a multifaceted thing going on. So you want to excel in all areas and create an awesome foundation to build upon. You've probably seen agents out there that are awesome on social media, but they have no transactions. They're great at maybe filming videos or being funny, but maybe they need better marketing. So
they need better marketing for that. And I just got a text message, one of our agents who watches the show, actually, just who do I recommend for a coach? So that'll be a fun conversation after. Let's find out what you need, and then we'll recommend who the coach is going to be.
Right. And you can speak with either one of us, and we'll help you in that area. The goal of Agents Who Win in this segment is not for me to add coaching clients to myself. We're just talking about the benefits of coaching, and in our experience, we've worked with a lot of different coaches, and we would love to give you our input on that question.
Yeah, I love diving into the general aspect of how can I help you build your business, and then help you figure out where the next direction is to go. If it's you want to get into like some weekly stuff, we're going to put you in front of the right people for that. If you want to dive into some just areas of business that you need help with, I'm talking to people that are not with our brokerage or anything, just that I see need help. Hey, ping me on Monday. Let's get a time to book this week, because I know you're a brand new agent. You want to figure out what's working. I'm giving them a bunch of tips on Messenger, but I'm like, this is an easier Zoom call than it is for me to keep typing. So I've got a couple calls this week with people just to give them 15 to 20 minutes worth of advice that we've learned over the last 20 years, and through all of our growing pains.
Right. But definitely leverage people that have experience, because we've made a lot of mistakes and we know how to avoid them now. So that's what we look up to people, and we have coaches. Todd and I both have coaches, and those coaches are in place to help us avoid mistakes, because as you grow, the mistakes just get costlier, right?
Very. They do cost a lot more. So we want to make sure we aren't making those. And that's why I say when I'm talking to people, I'm telling you the things that I've done that I shouldn't have done, or, got out of quickly. So it's, that's what I'm telling you, the mistakes not to make, or, the growing pains that we've had with team building and a variation of other things. So, right. But yeah, definitely. I just want to kind of bring that coaching aspect in, because that was one thing that Brent had talked about, was get coach specific. What do you need help with? And I think that was my biggest takeaway there, with all the, as far as the initial part of the sessions we had, get coach specific. And if, we found that coach now that has actually said helping us scale our business versus let's just keep growing it slowly. We want to scale, and how to scale it at a massive pace. So with that in mind, as we're scaling our business, if you're looking for information or you're interested in partnering with us, it doesn't matter where you're at in the country. We have tools, techniques, and tricks that can help you get your business rolling or scale your business faster with the things that we're learning right now. We would love to connect with you guys, partner up, kind of talk to you about what's going on with the company and other stuff, and how to, just work with us and grow.
And in addition to what you said, no matter where you are in the country, also no matter where you are in your business or production levels. So people just getting their license, we're happy to talk with them. Or if you're trying to figure out ways to close 200 transactions a year or more like Todd, he can help you get there, So You can reach us. I know, Todd, what do you have for contact info?
I'm still having tech issues, so I'm just going to say message us back through the page, and we will reach back to you guys. If you want to book on one-on-one, just hit, hey, Danny, hey, Todd, or hey, Daniel, hey, Todd, and we can definitely, reach out to you guys and get things going. Again, sorry for the tech issues at the beginning of this call. I think we ran a little bit over trying to discuss some things, and then Facebook decided to lock me out of my account, so I had to get that fixed. But definitely reach out to us, message us on this video here, and we'll be happy to connect further and just see what we can do for you guys.
All right. Sounds good. Take care. You can look us up, and we look forward to having an awesome week.
Yep. Everyone have an awesome week. See you guys soon.
Take care.